Live from the Echo Network studios here in Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Odd Musings, and we are your hosts, Brett Pinson.
And I'm Scott Zambelli.
Welcome back live. We missed you guys last week as we were traveling to Vegas and Denver doing some Comic-Conning and selling our wares and that.
Yep.
So, start off, we got to talk about, real quick, our friend Tommy Castillo. While we were gone, Tommy passed away. And you may remember our last live episode, we had Sammy on talking about that, his illness and things going on.
Mm-hmm.
They had his funeral last week while we were in Denver. And my sister, who lives down in Clearwater area, went to the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a celebration. It was not, Tommy wanted people to wear bright colors. So Sammy put that out as a video after he passed about what would be going on. And one of Tommy's bucket lists was, when he got better, was to fly a kite. He had never flown a kite in his life. And I think when you're faced with mortality, you think of some of the things that some people may like and some people may not like. And one of the things was flying a kite for Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So during the funeral, they went outside and everybody went to fly a kite. One of his friends in life was John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard, Smallville, and many other productions. And
right.
My sister said he came out and talked, wore a nice bright colored shirt, and he cried during his speech, or his eulogy to Tommy. But then afterwards, him and Sammy, along with I believe it was Sammy's dad, they all three were out there trying to fly a kite. Now, of course, the wind was not as cooperative in some ways, but I guess it was kind of funny watching them run down the street, and I think Tommy would have had a great laugh.
Definitely. Yeah.
One of the fun things that Sammy did, and I find fun anyways, and I'm sure it helped her out, was after Tommy passed, all of a sudden his Facebook started posting on people. It was Ghost Tommy.
Ghost Tommy was appearing.
And
that was funny.
And some people may find it morbid or whatever else, but if you knew Tommy, you knew that this would have been hilarious to him.
Yeah.
And I found it funny just watch some of the posts on that, because it was nothing bad. It was all just laughing like, hey, I'm dead, you know? What do you,
yeah, so for those who don't know, basically what she was doing is she was signing in as Tommy, and as people were posting their, condolences, she would respond in the way that Tommy would have responded, with some form of sarcasm or joke.
And she's run his Facebook forever anyway.
Right. So she knows his voice.
Yeah. So she was the voice of Tommy on Facebook for many, many years.
Right.
And so it was kind of funny she did that.
Yeah, it's things like sorry for your loss. He was such a great guy, and then he would respond as Ghost Tommy. He would be like, yes, I was a great guy.
Yeah.
And things like that. And you know what, while death is a very serious and sad thing, you need levity to get through things, and I think Sammy is she's doing what she can, because she has to cope also, but she's also trying to do it in a way that allows Tommy's fans to have an outlet also, and I think that's really generous of her.
There was a lot of fans that showed up for his service and his memorial, and they were very happy about that. And she invited everybody. She told everybody, if you want to come out, you come out. She understood those of us that couldn't. I was really excited that my sister got a chance to go for us and kind of represent the family, and I include Scott in that, and pay our condolences. And she talked to Sammy for a brief moment. Sammy made sure to get around, and she's a strong woman. She's gonna have a hard time. I know, as a friend of hers, I'm gonna be in more contact with her over the
Yeah, and I'll get to see her a little bit when I'm out in San Diego, and then when we're back in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So if you're going to be actually, that's a good thing. If you're going to be in San Diego, especially, they're going to be set up. Tommy Castillo will not be just Tommy Castillo. It's Tommy Castillo Studios. She announced that, and it's going to be an ongoing project. She'll be announcing a lot of things over the next several months to continue on the legacy that Tommy had built of himself. Because he always, he worked on Batman and other production, stuff like that, he always had creator-owned stuff he was working on and creating.
Right.
And I think we'll see more of that. And I'm excited. I'm excited for that, because I was always excited with Tommy around. I'm excited to see her continue that on. And as she knows from me, on my part, is there's anything Odd Music has ever do for her, we're definitely helping them out with promotions, things like that. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see her. I'm looking forward to she's back in time from San Diego to Tampa, in Orlando while we're there. In a few weeks here, then visit with her. We're going to have to plan another trip down just to go make sure I see her on that. But if you saw the videos.
Oh, go ahead.
The initial video when she announced Tommy's passing, she ended with a really cool little bit that Tommy would love. Tommy for all the horror stuff he does, was a big kid, and he loved Disney, and he loved Muppets especially. And she had an actual on-screen Kermit that they owned.
Yeah, this was an actual Kermit the Frog used, and I forget, when we were there a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Bless you, Dominic. Thanks.
You just had to chime in.
But he had told me that was an actual screen used Kermit the Frog, which was cool. So I got to touch the actual Kermit. How cool is that? But so, anyways, go ahead.
Oh yeah, she played the song Rainbow Connection.
Rainbow Connection, yes.
And it was one of Tommy's favorites, and she had Kermit singing, and she sang along, and
Yeah.
it was real sweet, and definitely a great homage to that. And it was, you know, she's put out a couple of videos since talking. She talked. I saw a video after the service that she posted, thanking everybody for coming out. They're gonna post on Tommy's Facebook pages and that the video of the service of the eulogies of those that are allowing it to go out there, so you can hear the remarks.
Right.
So if you want to check that out, we'll have that up on our Facebook as a link. In that, but
Yeah.
it was sad to hear Tommy passed, and definitely gonna miss him. And Sammy's there will continue on his legacy.
Right.
They still have the U carrying up, so youcaring.com.
Right.
Put in Tommy Castillo, Castillo. All money goes to still help. I mean, they had put together a funeral. They had all those
Right.
expenses, and if you don't go there, watch for what they're doing. Help support them maybe in buying books or artwork down the road, especially at San Diego coming up, and go from there. But
Definitely.
just want to say goodbye, Tommy.
But yeah, and his legacy will keep going.
Yep.
So
That was pretty good.
definitely.
One of the things I know that I talked to Tommy about, and this is kind of getting into one of our sponsors, is what I do is the chiropractor. And he went through a lot of stuff with his diabetes and that. And one thing that, can't really say anything's going to cure everything, but one thing that helps me get through is going to chiropractors. And one of our sponsors is Loringer Chiropractic. And, you know, I forgot to grab my ad read. So, but it's, as you all know, I go to a chiropractor, I mentioned every week. And, you know, the beauty of dealing with someone like a Loringer Chiropractic is they're like family. They treat you like family. And there's hundreds and hundreds of chiropractors everywhere you go. But the one I chose is Loringer. And they've been kind enough to sponsor our show as one of the things. So you go to Loringer Family Chiropractic Center. They're located in Belleville, Michigan, as well as Dexter, Michigan. Their phone number is 734-697-4244. And you can find them online at loringerfamilychiropractic.com. So if you're in basically southeast Michigan, out to part of the middle lower peninsula area like Jackson, even it's not too far to drive to Dexter, you're looking for a good chiropractor, this is where you go. If you can't find one, give them a call and say, hey, this is where I live at. You guys got any recommendations? And I'm sure they can find somebody for you. They offer massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, and a full line of vitamins. And it's a family-oriented environment. So definitely check them out at Loringer Family Chiropractic. With that, as a side note, we have a giveaway from them. They have given us one free massage. So if you live somewhere here in Michigan, especially, or in Toledo, Ohio, in that area, northwest Ohio, not too far to drive up for a great 1 hour massage. So we're going to do this online. And Scott, do you want to give a little bit of details of the giveaway?
So what we're going to do is we're going to, on the website, on our main website, we're going to post the trivia question and and have a link on there where you can fill or a form, I should say. You fill out and hit send, and that will submit your entry in for the massage gift certificate.
Yeah.
So
And 1 hour massage is just like 1 hour with a therapist. It's actually like 55 minutes, something like that.
right,
So it's not a real hour. But
it's like a baker's dozen,
yes.
but less. Instead of more, you get less.
Right.
But it'll feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, so we're going to put the code. Do we have a question yet, or?
Yes, we do have a question. We're going to go with the one we talked about.
Okay.
We've been on the road for 2 weeks, so we're kind of
Yeah.
like, so the basic question is going to be an easy one. What is speeder? I can't even talk.
What is Spider-Man's alter ego?
I kind of gave away a little bit of the answer there.
Yeah.
It's Peter. It's Peter Johnson. I don't know.
There you go. So go to oddmusings.com. We'll have the link up this afternoon.
Yeah, you'll go to the sponsors page,
Yeah.
and there's a contest link there, and you'll go to that. So I'll have that updated later on this afternoon.
Yep.
And it'll be up.
So you got until 8 o'clock next Wednesday. We're going to cut it off AM. And then we'll announce live next week the winner. And we'll contact that winner and mail them out their certificate so they can get a great massage. They've got a great group of people that work in their massage therapy, and they do it both, I believe, in Dexter and in Belleville. I always go to Belleville for all my stuff.
Right. And so, and if you go on Facebook, look them up at Loringer Family Chiropractic.
.com, as well as oddmusings.com. We have a link to them to make it even easier.
All right.
And that, so, but yeah, as we said, we got back from Vegas and Denver. We started off flying out to Vegas 2 weeks ago. And Vegas is great. As I like to tell people, they're like, well, how's the commission? It doesn't matter. It's Vegas, baby.
Yeah. And when we were there, they were experiencing a heat wave record. It was more than 10 days of 114 degrees and up.
Yeah, and you felt it. I mean, it's a dry heat, but at that hot, it's just hot.
At that hot, it's an oven.
Yes. I mean, and it was funny. It got down to a couple of days, like 104, 105. We were like, oh, kind of cool. I might need a sweatshirt.
Yeah, the overnight lows were like 94.
Yeah.
And that was like when it was cold out.
Yeah. But even then, when it hits 94 in Vegas, it really, truly is kind of comfortable. I mean, when the sun's out and it's beating 90, it's hot anyway. Even if it's 94, it's still leaning on you a little bit. But I liked when we walked around, because we got a couple nights after the show to hang out in Vegas and check things out. And Scott and I went and checked out the Strip on the Monday night we were there, just so we could see it all lit up. I had seen it before, Scott had seen it before, but it's always cool to go check it out.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest Christmas display you'll ever see on steroids. I mean, there's lights and displays and everything, and the sheer number of people there.
You know, we as we were walking around looked across at the Bellagio, saw the fountains going off, and it's always a fun show, whether it's daytime or nighttime.
The highlight for me for the nighttime scene was when we were walking across the bridge and Bally's was missing the Y. I don't know. It was gone. It wasn't out. The Y was gone.
I didn't see
it
it
just
anywhere.
said balls.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of that and posted it on my page.
I'm gonna go gamble at
Balls. Yeah, because someone else like, oh look, the Y's out. I'm like, no, the Y's not even there.
Yeah.
So it must have blew over.
No, when I was there in September, that whole area right there in front of them was under construction. They were redoing it, so I think that's part of it. They maybe just
forgot.
had to take it down or forgot, or it's being replaced or whatever. So,
or maybe they're changing their whole marketing strategy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a sports casino. Maybe
there you go. That's what we call balls.
But that cracked me up when I saw that. And then I had a lot of fun when we went to the MGM Grand.
Yeah, we had on Monday we went. We got our tram passes. Now, if you've never with the tram we got, there's a couple different ones. The one goes from like the Luxor area down. That's a free one the MGM has for all their casinos along that little strip there of the main strip. But to cover a big chunk of Vegas to get around, they have their paid tram, which is part of the Vegas transportation in that. And it goes from the SLS, which was the last stop past where we were at.
Yeah, we were the Westgate, which was the second. We're on the northern part of the strip, but we weren't quite so far that we were like near Fremont. Strip.
Yeah, we were only. I mean, realistically, we were a mile and a half walk to part of the strip.
Right.
But depending where you want to be at, well, it goes all the way down to the MGM Grand. Yeah. So we hopped the tram. We'd say, let's go down there. We went down and we first stopped at the Link because we did have breakfast for the second time at the Hash House A Go-Go.
Yeah, and we mentioned that briefly on the before the show, but for those who are just tuning into the podcast section here, it was a great meal.
Yeah.
Huge servings. The pancakes were like...
You get your money's worth.
What? I don't know, 15 inches?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't get the chicken and waffles, but we saw it come out a few times. Just like two giant breasts of chicken and then these waffles and
with a
like
giant
18
knife.
feet high.
With a giant knife going through the center to hold it all together.
Yeah. And then you had a meatloaf on the first time we went.
Yeah, I had a grilled meatloaf, and this thing was, it was dense. It was heavy. And I don't know, it was like the size of like maybe Texas toast. Like it was like big like that and really thick. And it was on top of these mashed potatoes that, I don't know, they weighed like 3 pounds.
Well, our friend Kevin Miner and his wife were with us, along with our other friend Eric and his wife Margaret. And Kevin had gotten a meatloaf too, and he actually cut a slice off and put it on my plate. He goes, "You got to try this."
Yeah, it was very
It
good.
was very good. And if I hadn't, I already planned a couple of things I had to have there. Next time I go back, I'm getting one of the meatloafs, something.
Yeah. It was very good.
Definitely
I enjoyed it.
So we ate there. That day, Monday morning, it was just 3 of us. It was Scott, me, and Connie, the Comic-Con mom. And we decided to go check out a little bit of the casinos that morning. We got our tram pass, so we paid for 2 days, got a really good deal on that. Always use Google when you're checking that stuff out, because I found this, what was I told you, like $16?
16 for 2 days, and that's
Yeah.
unlimited rides, up and down the strip as many times as you want.
Yeah.
It's very clean, very nice. The stops, the stations,
Yep.
very clean and nice. You can't beat it.
It was nice. So we took it. So after we went to the link to have breakfast, we hopped back and we played around there, walked around a little bit, and then we ended up down at the MGM Grand. And we're walking through off the tram and get stopped. Like, hey, do you guys want to do this free thing? It costs nothing. You watch a TV show and then you give a review. It takes about a half an hour of your time.
Right.
Sure, why not? It's kind of, mom's like, I'm gonna go and walk around. So she went and did her thing, and we checked this out. This we can talk about. When we were first setting up to go in, they said, hey, we got something going on tomorrow. You guys in town tomorrow? We said, yeah, we're around. What's going on? And well, it's a separate survey thing we're doing. They're going to pay us $50, which won't be able to talk about it. So we can't talk about that in terms of the specifics.
But what we can talk about is when you're an artist and someone offers you $50 for an hour's worth of work, you're like, okay.
Yeah. So, the first day we go and watch this show called, it was Me, Myself, and I. And it's coming out in the fall. And it was funny. Enjoyed it.
John Larroquette.
John Larroquette. I should have looked up the guy's name again.
Yeah.
He was he was recently on Saturday Night Live last several years.
He was the stormtrooper that Kylo Ren gave the card to, saying, "Sorry, I killed your parents."
Right.
I can never remember his name.
Yeah. So.
And then a young kid too.
Yeah, a young kid who was new. Yeah, and they did it in the credits. It was introducing and gave his name. It's the same character at 3 different stages of his life. And
yeah, the story jumps back and forth in time to tell a complete story. Like you see the different stages of his life.
And it does have Jaleel White in Urkel from Family Matters.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
He was in it.
there.
And he was good. I enjoyed him in that part. The show is an hour, and in between commercially they're showing reviews for others coming, like SWAT with Shamar Moore.
Was that this one?
Yeah, that was SWAT.
Okay, because there's a couple that are like very
But the other needs to be that outside,
which does look good.
And that's got David Boreanaz. SWAT. Actually, the previous show for SWAT I didn't like. The one I saw outside I liked a little better because they focused too much on one character when you can tell it's going to be an ensemble cast.
Yeah, inside the review, the commercial they showed for SWAT, to me, it just felt like it was a commercial for the character from Criminal Minds.
Right.
Like it was just him reprising his role again.
And that's what it felt like. And I just was not interested in that.
It's like, oh, look, we found a role where he can wear another too small shirt. that's skin tight. And
yeah.
I'm just waiting for the girl to show up on the phone that he calls baby.
Yeah. We call them all baby girl. That's all
baby girl.
girls.
Baby girl.
And that.
Yeah.
The other one was for 9JKL, I believe it was called. It was an apartment one thing. I liked the guy who started. He was on Royal Pains. And it's got Ellie Gould and Linda Lavin. It just didn't look good. I didn't laugh once. It looked almost painful to watch just for these little clips.
Yeah, for me, it was, to me, the whole premise of the show is an excuse to make fun of 40-year-old males.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
He was freshly divorced.
I didn't find it very funny. But it was just a preview, or not a preview, but an extended commercial that we watched. So we'll see how it is. Who knows? Maybe it's better. Just like the Shamar Moore one.
Right.
The commercial we saw looked like crap.
Yeah.
But then when we saw the commercial outside, it looked better.
But there was another one outside I saw while you were doing your thing the next day, and it didn't look any better.
Oh. All right.
Sorry. The other one they showed was we got an extended commercial for the new Big Bang Theory spinoff, Sheldon.
Little Sheldon, or?
It's Sheldon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And Big Bang Theory in the fall. Now I know there's a lot of people I talk to that are hit or miss on Big Bang anymore because it's been out for so long. I personally still enjoy it. But this looked really good because now we're going to get those initial stories he's told over the years on the show. You get to see him kind of acted out a little bit extra. We get to meet see more of his sister when he was younger, his older brother.
How old do you think he is in this?
He looks to be about 8.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing.
In some ways, he looks like Problem Child from the movies Problem Child. And he kind of has a, just like Sheldon, he's a stickler for certain rules and order and
Right.
things like that.
But they
so.
also, like a particular scene, I won't give away spoilers, but the particular scene they showed, it also shows they get, like Big Bang Theory, the one thing, like they don't really put much heart into it. This one seemed like they put,
There's a little more, because of the family aspect.
yeah, like there's a certain scene that's very touching that it was interesting.
Even with the father, who we've learned through Big Bang Theory is an alcoholic in that. So.
Right. So it'll be, I'm curious to see that show. I give it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it is.
So that's fine. And then the next day we did our thing, and so we can't talk about exactly what we did for the survey because we signed a non-disclosure.
You may or may not have been sent to the Central America to free hostages. We cannot talk about it.
Yes.
We can neither confirm nor deny.
Confirm nor deny, yes. Who knows? We might have been in Dubai. You never know.
You never know.
I did not go through a teleporter. But the cool thing was...
Why did you tell me my butt's so big?
Spaceballs! But the thing is, we got up early, went over and had breakfast at the MGM there, just a little food court. Because the day before they give us some coupons, we saved a little money that way. And then we did our thing and got paid $50, and we were done by, I think it was a little bit after 11.
Yep.
That's the day we went and had lunch with Matt over at the barbecue place. And then we kind of came back, and we were supposed to hang out with Kevin and Brandy that night. We were just kind of wiped out. The show finally hit us hard, and we were flying out early the next morning for Denver, so we kind of did that. And of course, getting to Denver, we flew in and stayed at one night out by the airport. Just an extended stay so we could do laundry and get everything ready and kind of get used to also the fact that we went from 110-degree heat to not really as much heat, but it was also higher elevation. You can feel the higher elevation.
Definitely.
A little pressure on you a little bit, but it's also lighter air. And so we had a good time to kind of rest there and get ready, and then we ended up transferring downtown to the Sheraton. And great surprise at the Sheraton, they upgraded us at no additional charge to a lovely suite with a nice big sitting area and a room area.
Yeah, that was unexpected, but well welcomed.
Yeah, we could have fit 25 guys in there. That could cost everybody like a bucket.
Yeah, that was really cool that they upgraded us that way. And an interesting thing too was at that hotel there was the Little Persons of America.
Yes, Little Persons of America conference. They were there for like a week, so they're still there right now.
There was like 300 or 500 or so.
Oh, easy. Checking in.
Yeah.
You want to talk to some great people, and they were all really nice ones we talked to. We met
Katie Snyder.
Katie Snyder. She turned out she had done some stuff in the past.
She wrestled for Hulk Hogan's Micro Championship Wrestling League.
Yeah.
She was a champion with them, the MCW as they call it. And then she was also a star on, I don't know if it's an ongoing series or...
It was Little People of New York, wasn't it?
Yeah, of New York. I guess they have different cities they do.
Yeah.
She was on the New York one.
But real sweet. We met her while waiting for our room to be ready, and
Met her daughter.
Her little daughter, it was about a year and a half maybe, and
Who had the energy of 14 children.
yeah. Oh, it's just funny because we had an extra pass. We offered it to her. So on Saturday, I gave her the pass on Saturday night, and we're not sure if she made it out because we didn't see her on Sunday. But the show's big enough to where you could not have made it our way, and still,
Yeah, it was huge.
But while we were doing stuff, she was trying to write stuff down, so I was holding her little daughter and tossing her just to keep her occupied. And then she was not too happy that I gave her back, and she had to go back up to her room. So she
The daughter wasn't too happy.
Yeah, the daughter. Katie was like fine, but she was tired. Now she's going back to bed now. And but no, she missed Uncle Brett. So
yeah, it was fun. And then Denver, such a great town. Really loved it down there. Want to give a shout out too. We came across an amazing burger place called 5280
Burger Bar, yeah.
Burger Bar.
And right attached to it in the same thing is the 5280 Creamery, where they do all fresh made, churned in-house ice cream. They make fresh every day.
Oh, everything's fresh. Like for instance, we had, while eating at the Creamery, we had the campfire marshmallow ice cream.
Oh, so
They
good.
they actually take marshmallows and roast them, and then somehow through magic, I don't know how, turn it into ice cream.
Well, when they add the ingredients in through the device they use to churn it, and it added that taste. It tasted like
you could taste
marshmallows.
you could taste campfire in it.
Yeah, it was good.
And it was really good.
And then also tried the sea salt caramel ice cream.
Yeah,
And I'm not a big caramel fan, but that was awesome.
it was very good.
I don't really like the caramel squares, but definitely the one there. And of course, he said it was caramel because he's from Texas. So it was Clay, one of the owners, and we gone in and sat down, and they sat us, And we're there for a few minutes, and then this gentleman walks over, take our drink orders, and first time here, so he starts talking about it. Finally, he says, "Well, I'll just have a seat with you guys." We talked to him for 20 minutes before we even ordered anything.
Yeah, and it turned out he's one of the co-owners of the restaurant.
And we learned all about the restaurant, why he was there. He originally owned restaurants in Texas, and then when he sold them, things were fine, but he's looking for, it's kind of his last bit before retirement. He doesn't want to have to be chopping lettuce when he's 85, he said, but.
Yeah, Alan Shell just popped in saying how Austin, Texas has amazing burger places too. And
he was from Austin.
And he was from Austin. He originally had a burger place out there.
Yep.
And but through whatever reasons, he ended up leaving Austin and then started up this new place with a new owner and or co-owner, I should say.
Right.
And but prior to him opening up this place, he did 18 months of research where him and his partner, they traveled the country visiting all types of burger places.
Yeah, he said they went all up down the East Coast, from New York down through New Jersey and the Carolinas.
And they have a proprietary blend they came up with of their meat, which is a certain percentage of shoulder and other stuff to combine to make their hamburger. And I'll tell you what, I had the Swiss mushroom burger. It was phenomenal.
Well, and they do beef, which is their main thing. And they have a couple of choices on that. You got your Angus beef, and then they had their Wagyu, which is the Japanese style beef. That's done a little different.
They also had lamb.
The lamb, I had the lamb. It was excellent. Best lamb burger I ever had.
And bison.
And the bison I had also. And the bison, while that can be dry somewhere, this wasn't dry. It's a little drier than normal beef, but at the same time, it almost tasted very steak-like, even more than their beef did. Didn't try the chicken one. It looked good. I'm not big a fan of the tofu style, but
usually I get the chicken, but I had the burger the first night.
It was
so good. I ended up having the burger. We ended up there 3 out of 4 nights.
Yeah. Well, they had great regular cut onion rings, and then Mom doesn't like the regular onion. She likes the straws, and they do that on their burgers. And they're like, "Oh no, we can get you that." So she had a basket of that a couple nights. We got their shoestring potatoes were really good. Just fantastic on that. So we had a great time there. But a big shout out to Clay for awesome food, awesome way to run stuff, and of course. The best ice cream, and I had a good chocolate shake there too.
The best advice I can give to people is, when we're on the road, it's so easy to go with the choices of what you know. The big major chain restaurants, but we can get that anywhere. We can get that home. Every city we go into has these same restaurants, but we try to find those local places. 5280 was one of those places where everything was locally sourced. They weren't this chain restaurant. The owner was sitting with us, talking to us about his business because he cared about it. He cared about us liking it.
Yeah.
And it's such a blast. Another great place we ate down there was called the Delectable Egg.
Yeah.
Which Clay actually recommended. And that's another nice thing is, as a business owner, he was willing to give us suggestions for other places in town to try. And delicious food there.
Oh, great breakfast. We ended up eating there twice, and really enjoyed that. And definitely looking forward to going back there again. It is like I like finding local. As I told Clay, even I like finding local places because I can go to Chili's anywhere. I can go to Red Robin or wherever, in a lot of different places. I can't get a 5280 burger unless I go to Denver.
Correct.
And even when they have multiple locations, like even in Vegas, Hash House A Go Go. I know they have a couple of different places in the country now, but they try to source everything locally wherever they're at.
Right.
So it's not a treat you can have everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely look, when you're out traveling, look for those places. Cause
talk to the locals. That's how you find some of the best things. Find out. We happen to find it online, but the reviews were great. So different websites like Yelp or Google or whatever will help you find those places too. Read the reviews.
And just like when we were in Vegas, Matthew helped us.
Yep.
He took us to some places that were local. That the locals would go to, not the tourists.
Yeah, because the barbecue place is way off the strip,
right?
And that stuff. So
yeah,
definitely check that out.
Good stuff. Definitely. And then coming home from Denver, I had an interesting thing happen in the airport. So it was funny. The Denver airport's very nice, and
very big.
And very big. And what's unique about Denver is they have the different. They have A, B, and C gates terminals. And then they have the main part of the airport. And what connects them all is this underground subway or train, tram
It's like a monorail tram.
Yeah, monorail. And when we get there, we got up 3:30. Well, actually, we woke up at like 1:30. we had very limited sleep.
Yeah.
We get to the airport. It's like just opening. You actually had to wait a little bit in your line before somebody arrived to start
Yeah,
taking people in.
but our flight was also a little bit later than yours. We got there early. With Scott's flight was like a half hour leaving before ours
Right.
was. We figured, well, we'll just get there when Scott's time is. It was one shuttle service. We didn't have
Right.
to mess with it.
So I get down there, and you get to this monorail, and there's one side where it's active, and the other side, there's a sign, the light and the announcement says, do not board. The doors are all open, but it says, do not board under repair.
Mhm.
So everyone's signed up on the side where we should be boarding, according to the signs. And it says the next train arrives in 5 minutes or something. And then all of a sudden, there's a announcement that says, do not board on this side, go to the other side. So everyone's like looking at the other side and it says, do not board. And everyone's all confused. And then as the other train is arriving, all of a sudden, the doors start closing on the good one, on the one that says it's under repair, but the sign suddenly shuts off saying it's no longer under repair as the doors shut. And everyone's like, what? So now all these bodies are running to this train to get on board. And
And all this took place about 15 minutes before I even made it to the train.
Right.
And everything was running fine for me.
so we get on the train, and then the doors try to close, and they won't close. And then they start opening. And then the announcements is saying, you don't board this train. Now we're like, what? Meanwhile, the train on the other side arrives. So now people don't know if we have to get off and go to the other one. So everyone unboards quickly. Meanwhile, the employees are yelling, don't get off this train. You can't get on the other one. And we're like, what? So then we board the repairing train again.
Right.
Anyways, long story short, it ended up going. Everything was fine. But we were all in the train like, are we going to make it out of this? We don't know. But it was funny.
Well, after they showed up to get us checked in, and we had plenty of time, so they weren't late. It was just we were all very early with shuttles. We got through, went through security, and hit the train, and everything was running fine. It was a big group. The thing I cannot understand, and maybe you guys out there can help us out with this, is why is it everybody has to congregate at the first door and block everything? I walked around them, went all the way down, and there was like hardly anybody getting on. That would actually end up being the very first train.
Oh, yeah.
And and they do this even with pick up the airport. It's like everybody's got to park and wait for somebody, and so the other stuff.
Well, same with the
It
baggage.
irritates me.
The baggage claim drives me nuts. If everyone stood 3 feet back around the baggage, you would clearly see the luggage, and then you step forward, grab your luggage, and leave. But instead, everyone has to jam up right where the bag falls, and everyone's crowded around this little tiny area, fighting like to the death for this little square footage. And it's like, step back. You'll see your luggage. You can step forward.
Right.
And it always drives me nuts at the baggage claim, how everybody is. And I try to stand a couple feet back. And then, sure enough, somebody's got to, like, oh, there's a foot in front of you. They have to stand right there and block you. It's like, really? Did you not see me there?
Yeah. I always try to find a spot that's kind of open, and I'll
Yeah.
go up there, and I'll go right up to the thing. I am one of those guys that right against it, but I'm not where it's dropping in. I'm usually around somewhere, because everybody wants to be first grabbing it. I'm like, you know what? Let it come around. It's going to hit me. Most of the time, by the time I get there anymore, it's already going around anyways.
Yeah, if you stand a little back and you got a good view, first of all, you usually can, the way the luggage comes up, you usually can see it before it even drops down. So it's
Right.
like, oh, there's mine, and you know it's coming.
Yeah, we got lucky, but every time we showed off our my luggage and Mom's luggage, it was coming around, and most of them were pretty close because we put them together. So I'd grab them, and it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
But it's like fighting. It was like got to throw elbows and
Yeah,
shin
and it's
grabs.
just every step of the way, everyone's clamoring for that like one spot. And it's like, if you just step back a little,
Yeah.
life will be a lot easier and less stressful.
Just a little bit.
And you'll still get everything.
But we had a great time in Vegas and Denver.
Yeah.
Both shows were fun.
Definitely.
Denver packs them in. I mean, Vegas is almost an intimate show in some ways because you have time to talk with people. But Denver was 100,000 people easy, and I know some people may think that they're counting people 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I don't know. There were so many people walking around that.
Well, even Friday morning,
Yeah.
usually, most shows, when it's a Friday show, it's a evening show. It starts later in the day. There's show hours for Friday were 10 a.m. to
10 to 7 on
10
both
to
Friday
7.
and Saturday.
And I will admit, I was a little skeptical because I've never done this show before. And I was like, oh my God, 10 a.m. on a Friday? It's going to be dead for 4 hours.
Once the crowd got in, by 11:30, 12.
Before the crowd got in.
Wait, before it was packed.
When I arrived at 9:30 to get to my table, and I had the line outside,
Oh, yeah, the
it was
line-
like it did this weird curving, and it was like,
Yeah.
there
And
was
by the time
minimum
they
of
got people in
30,000
there. It was always a line getting in. If you went outside, you had to get back in line again. It was one in, one out type. And not
Right.
that they were limiting people getting in, it was just one entrance.
Right.
I had to go out on Friday after we were there for a few hours. A good friend of mine, Jeff Veith, if he's listening. Hey, Jeff, it was great seeing you and Jalen.
Nice meeting you, Jeff. And your son.
Yeah, had a great time. They hung out with us all weekend. It was great too because Jeff and I haven't talked. We talk here and there when we get a chance, but hadn't a chance to hang out like that. In
Yeah, you've
many
known him
years.
since college, right?
Yeah, over 20 some odd years. We went to Eastern Michigan together. We worked at Sam's Club together. So we definitely hung out over the years. So we told some stories to Jalen, about our adventures in college and drinking and that. So, which I don't drink anymore, but it was still
Drinking
fun.
ginger ale.
Yes, ginger ale. Yeah. So I had to go out and get him the passes to come in. On Friday, he brought us on Saturday and Sunday, and getting out was kind of a interesting thing because someone misdirected me, so I ended up having to walk all the way around the place inside. Then I got outside, then I had to walk all the way outside because I told him where to meet me at, which I was glad I did because trying to figure any other location would have been near impossible. The neat thing about the Denver Convention is outside they have this big giant blue bear, so that was where I met him at, and he was hanging out underneath it. So that was kind of easy to do, and we walked back in. But yeah, crowd was huge. Great time. I got me a free hat for the movie Dunkirk while I was there. That was cool. And
Nice.
you got your NCIS hat though in Vegas.
Yeah, and people have been. It's funny the reaction I've had on this hat because it's. I have gotten so many comments on it. I wear hats all the time, and I've never had a response like that. People are like, "Are you in the show?" Or
Well, and that's the neat thing about the hats, but also as a nice little segue here, t-shirts. I wore my Potter Weasley shirt again from T-24, and got a lot of compliments on that. And we're wearing shirts today. If you're watching us live on the Facebook Live, I've got my Ghostbusters.
Yep, and I've got my home shirt with the Millennium Falcon
Yeah.
in honor of the updated news about the new Han Solo movie being in turmoil and
Yeah.
them firing the directors, and now Ron Howard is on, so I'm happy about that. So we'll see what happens, but
I'm excited about that.
yeah, but we'll talk a little bit about T-24 though. Today's show is sponsored by T-24.com, which is TEEMINUS, the numbers 24. You can look them up on Facebook, go to their website, or go to oddmusings.com and look them up through our page as well. And they have over 140 graphic tees and hundreds of vinyl decals based on your favorite movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games. So go there after you check out their stuff and found something you like. Use coupon code ODD, ODD, at checkout, and you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. Also, they include free shipping with their orders, which is always nice too. So check them out. Are you looking them up online right now? I'm
No.
trying to remember what their upcoming shows are. I'm blanking
They're going to be
at
in
the
Tampa
moment.
Bay with us.
Oh, that's right.
their
They are in
show,
Tampa
yep.
with us. So in a couple of weeks, if you're going to be in the Tampa Bay area, find them in the show floor, and they have awesome deals. The odd promotion doesn't work at the show, but they have some really good
Well, they're
bundle
already giving
deals.
a discounted show when you're buying
Right.
multiple shirts.
Yeah, so you get a
And
bigger
if you buy
savings,
2 or 3 shirts, they give you can get a bag too,
yeah.
which is only available at the shows.
And in Tampa, I believe you'll be able to get their new Groot shirt,
Ah,
which
yes.
was designed by a really amazing artist. I believe his name is Scott Zambelli, and so if you get that shirt, maybe
Yeah, if you get that, wear by the.
not that I don't know. I can sign your shirt for you. I don't know.
I've gotten t-shirts signed. I got one signed by Sergio Aragones, so why not sign the shirt? Have fun with that.
I'll sign your forehead.
But yeah, it's I got a lot of good compliments wearing my Potter Weasley shirt in Denver and in Vegas, and hopefully anybody that met us there will go online and order that. And if you want to order really cool shirts, check out what do you got, like 145, 150 shirts. They got decals. They got all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely check them out. T-24.com.
Definitely. Which will lead us into another fandom, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
That,
Spider-Man.
that comes
Spider-Man,
out, officially it
Spider-Man.
comes out Friday. Me and Brett will both be seeing it this Thursday evening.
Yeah,
we'll be
we'll go
posting
and
reviews.
Seeing it in 3D tomorrow night.
And I'm seeing it in non-3D. and me and my daughter are going to check it out tomorrow at 7:10, I believe it
And mine's
starts.
at 7:45. So Scott's gonna do his review before mine, and
Yep.
then I'll do mine quick. And it'll be spoiler-free reviews on the through the Facebook Live on Odd Musings, and then next week we're gonna discuss that. But Spider-Man, this is a new incarnation of Spider-Man.
Correct.
We met him last year in Civil War,
Yes.
And
Yeah, played by Tom Holland, which is the third incarnation of Spider-Man in recent history, as far as the movies go.
yeah, the current movies, and the first one to be part of the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Correct. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I'm liking what I'm hearing about this. I like how they're incorporating it. I keep hearing these rumors that maybe Sony isn't going to tie it in the future, but when I'm hearing we'll see how this movie unfolds. But I think it's going to be tied in more.
Well, they've already talked about Homecoming 2, as they're calling it, which will be the second Spider-Man movie for
Right.
Tom Holland, coming out in probably 2 years. So I mean, it's already been greenlit, so it's already in production in terms of the script writing stuff like
But
that.
I think contract-wise, my belief is there are 3 movies that Marvel and Sony have agreed to cross-promote.
Right.
So
I would be
Um,
disappointed if they didn't do that. If Sony didn't, because I think it's beneficial to both studios and both franchises. I think it's and tying it in, and as they're from the trailer even for Homecoming, what you're seeing is you've got Iron Man. Tell him, say, look, you're just be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You're not the world guy. That's the Avengers. He's basing him as a local guy because he's a high school kid in this, which is great. They're sticking with the high school part of this.
Well, and Tom Holland is truly a young. I mean, he's the first truly young actor. Tobey Maguire was 26 when he started playing Spider-Man. He looked young, but he's 26 years old playing a high school kid. Whereas Tom Holland, he was 18 or 17 when he first started in Civil War as Spider-Man. And the neat thing about Tom Holland too is if you follow him on Instagram and stuff, he's very acrobatic in real life. He does a lot of flipping and jumping around. So he and taking on this role as Spider, I believe that's actually in the audition what he did. He came into the audition doing all these weird flips and stuff to show that he could be Spider-Man, even without stunt doubles and wires, and that impressed them. So, but
I like his ability to do the humor of Peter Parker and Spider-Man from everything you saw from Civil War, and I like the trailer stuff. That's what you joked about. I stole Captain America's shield.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the part that they're getting really right here. Going back, you had Tobey Maguire. The general consensus is, when I talk to people, is they feel Tobey Maguire played an excellent Peter Parker.
Yes.
And a lot of people will say Andrew Garfield played an excellent Spider-Man. And it seems like Tom Holland is the blend. He's got the young attitude of a young Peter Parker, while having the witty, snippy comments, just like in Civil War.
Yeah.
While he's fighting all of them, he's just like, he's having a blast, he's having fun, and then Falcon's like, there's not usually this much talking in a fight.
Yeah. I personally, Tobey Maguire, I really liked.
I liked him.
I enjoyed all 3 movies. The third one was the weakest for me in terms of story, but not because of the actors.
No, it was because of the studio. They forced Venom into it.
Yeah, that was a big mistake on that. Was to jump the gun on that. If they were going to go for another 4th movie with him, I could see introducing it in that movie, but not making him the main villain.
They made the classic superhero mistake of the 3rd movie, where they stopped focusing on the main character, and it became about how many villains can we fit into a movie.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, that movie, if you dissect Spider-Man 3 into 3 separate movies, the Goblin story was great.
Yep.
It wrapped up the storyline, the story arc of Peter and
Osborn, yeah. Harry Osborn.
It wrapped up their story nicely. The Sandman, that was a strong story by itself. That could have been the whole movie.
Right.
The whole Sandman story was great. It was an interesting story about forgiveness.
Yeah.
And how they tied that into Uncle Ben's death and all that, and how Peter had to overcome that. That part was great. The Venom storyline was bad.
Yes.
And it was too CGI. They weren't ready to do a realistic Venom.
What they should have done was, what they started off with was, he got the suit, he got the symbiote, stuck with it towards the end, and then he could have got rid of it, and that was sort of a 4th one. But they kind of knew going in the 3rd one that was the last one for Tobey Maguire, because of contract. And he's aged. I mean, at that point, he was in his 30s, and he was actually starting to look a little older. Not that he looked bad; it was just not the young Spider-Man. But I enjoyed all 3 movies. The first one was great when it came out in 2002, and of course, it was done by Raimi. Sam Raimi directed it. It was great. He's been a fan of Spider-Man forever, and of course, then when you got Sam Raimi, it brings in Bruce Campbell. And I always love that scene. It was like, what's your name? The Human Spider. That's a stupid name.
Well, and then he was fighting Bonesaw.
Yeah, Bonesaw's here.
Macho Man.
Oh, the great Randy Savage.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I still love that. That whole, I thought, I really loved the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans,
Yeah.
the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. For me, that's my Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Then they switched over to Andrew Garfield and rebooted the series. Personally, I never got into the Andrew Garfield one. I didn't care for him.
I liked them both myself, but they were wholly different at that point. And
Yeah.
they didn't need to do another origin story. And
Right.
they changed it up from they got away from having him have the powers built in for the webbing to building it, and even with that's leading to the current Homecoming series where he actually, they've gone back to more with Andrew Garfield and the current and Tom Holland ones of showing that Peter Parker actually was a brilliant scientist, even a science genius as a kid, and developed the webbing and developed the stuff to do.
Well,
So-
yes and no with the current one. Yes, he developed it, but then Tony Stark is really the scientist who came up with everything, which is what's going to come on. There's a lot of uncertainty with this one as far as what people are talking about is there's so much built into the suit, so much tech.
Yeah.
From Tony Stark, you don't quite know what powers Peter actually has.
Right.
Be-
Well, and that's where we'll learn this, because within Civil War, here's Spider-Man.
Mhm.
We're not getting a new origin. We're not going to. Maybe they'll show him get bit at the beginning, but they're not having to deal with that because they've already established.
Yeah, in Civil War, it's about 6 months after he got his powers, roughly.
Right. So he had some stuff. So I think what it is he had the ability to do the webbing, stuff like that. The current suit, though, isn't the full Iron Spider suit from the comics, but it's like a step towards that down the road, which I think we'll probably eventually see that with the Infinity War stuff if Spider-Man's going to appear in that.
Yeah, they in one of the trailers they even say they show his friend who figures out who Peter Parker is. He's like hacking into the suit,
Yeah.
and he breaks into the code, and he realizes there's a whole bunch more abilities in there, but they're currently locked because it's in training wheel mode. Tony Stark has all this stuff built in, but he hasn't blocked out until he feels Peter is ready for these things.
Right.
So I'll be curious to see moving forward how much, just like they were talking about too, like the spider sense.
Yeah.
They were talking about how well he doesn't have spider sense in this anymore. Which technically, if you listen to the quote, that's not what they say. They just said they're not focusing on it because they felt it was so focused on in the first two, the Garfield and the Maguire movies.
Right.
They're not making it a big deal. So we don't know if technically he has spider sense or not. And
I would say he does, but we're not going to constantly get the tingles and the slow motion and the.
Yeah, they're not
different
going to
stuff.
heighten it up like that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they'll turn it into something that the suit detects. We don't know.
We'll know tomorrow night. That's for sure.
or it's something that they just leave vague, and down the road they unveil.
Well, and that's what I like about this incarnation is we're not getting a whole nother film of an origin story. We're getting he's already established. He's been doing stuff, and now with Tony Stark, he's going to do even more, but still staying the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Well, and the other thing I like is I think this is where the benefit the Marvel universe comes in for Sony is there is a larger story arc. Whereas in the past, like the Andrew Garfield one, the big mistake that Sony made was the second movie, they destroyed that because it was no longer a movie. It was purely a promo for their Sinister Six.
Right.
They everything was about advertising a future movie instead of focusing on making a good movie.
Right.
And whereas this one, there is a larger story arc, and that Marvel has given them that's allowing them
and it's
to.
going to weave in and out of the Spider-Man stories
Right.
as well as the other Marvel Universe stuff.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Marvel's involvement will actually cause Sony to pace themselves so they don't turn into Spider-Man 3 or even like the Batman movies with the Batman with Mr. Freeze. You had Mr. Freeze,
Well, that was
Poison Ivy.
post-Burton, but
You had Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Bane,
yeah.
and then they had Batgirl and Robin. All of a sudden, you have a movie
don't
where you
need
have
too many.
6 characters that
Yeah.
you're focusing on, and all of a sudden each character has like 10 minutes.
It's fine when you've built up to that from the Marvel movies, like even with Captain America: Civil War. That was more of an
Right.
Avengers movie, but it was still Captain America because he was the focus and they had the other characters there. But when you've got too many villains, too much going on there, it distracts from the whole story.
Exactly, and I'm hoping that this involvement with Marvel will cause them to pace themselves.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a Sinister Six movie as they built up towards that, but don't jump into it.
Right, and don't do it the way like DC did with Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Instead of building up these characters,
Yeah.
they just jump into it. Now you have a movie where you got to somewhat try to fit all these origins into and explain who they are, and by the time the movie ends, you still don't even care about the characters much.
In a lot of ways, though, this new Spider-Man to me is feeling like what they're doing with the Netflix stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of contained in an area. They're not trying to be the larger world. He's going to be just in New York. And when he does pop into the other movies, he's not the central focus.
And what I'm so excited about, too, is Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, Michael Keaton, the original Batman, as far as
he's
movies
brilliant.
go.
He's always one of my favorite actors.
Oh, yeah. But he brings such a weight to the role that, as a viewer, we know he can get dangerous, and we know he can play bad. Like, even as Bruce Wayne, I thought he played like the best Bruce Wayne as far as, he had a dangerous side to him. Like when Joker's in there, and he's Bruce Wayne, but he uses the fire poker there, and he's like, let's get crazy.
Yes.
But he's convincing that he can be crazy.
Well, and if you saw him in Birdman a few years ago, brilliant in that. Basically playing the character kind of like the Vulture.
Playing the Vulture.
Yeah, playing the Vulture, but he was a hero. And now he's just playing the Vulture. So
it was the Vulture's origin story.
Yeah, there we go. So, and that was fantastic. Pretty much anything Michael Keaton's done over the years, I've always enjoyed. He can be serious. He can be funny.
I always find it interesting that in all these different movies, people with comedic origins can play such serious roles.
Well, you know what it is comedy is the hardest thing to do. And if you can do comedy where it seems effortless.
Well, yes, true.
That's
but
part of it.
I think a big part of it too, though, is when you hear the origin stories of each comic, it's usually tragic.
Yes.
So I think a lot of times they use comedy as their way of coping and getting through things, so when they develop their acting skills through comedy, and then they switch over to drama or serious role, they actually have something in their past that they can draw on for that seriousness. And
But you get different ones like David Allen Greer, who everybody knows from Living Color, different comedies, stuff like that. He actually trained to be a serious actor and didn't want to do comedy.
Oh.
and then he got kind of into it. It's like, this isn't so bad.
Right.
He thought himself as a better actor in that.
Right.
In interviews I saw.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to see Michael Keaton's portrayal of the Vulture. Plus, the Vulture, if you grew up, especially, I'm kind of ignorant right now on the current state of these characters, but from the 70s to the 90s, the Vulture was kind of a goofy character. It's this old man.
He was there, but there was also times they took him and he had a crush on Aunt May. And with Marissa Tomei playing, I can see that
now. but he was a goofy character, and Marvel has taken that character and brought him into the real world, but made him pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I'm really excited because he definitely looks menacing. Really see his full agenda on what he's trying to do here. It's going to be very interesting. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And then one final comment on the Spider-Man thing. I know with the current incarnation, a lot of people comment about the Marissa Tomei portrayal of Aunt May, saying, "Oh, she's so young." But if you really think about it, like I'm 43, and I believe she's how old is she?
She's in her early 50s.
Is she?
Yeah, she's about.
I thought she was younger than
almost
that.
10 years older than you.
But regardless, Peter is about 17, 18 in these movies. Actually, I think he's in high school still, so he's like 16. I have nieces and nephews who are in the range of 15 to 22.
Yeah.
So she's in the right age range.
And even if she was a great aunt, which is how they always implied the original Aunt May was a great aunt, she's still within that range.
Correct.
Because Parker's parents could, if they were like our age in their 40s with a 16-year-old kid, he could have had an aunt that was, his parents' younger sister or something that, was only about 13 or 14 years old when he was born. So it all fits in.
It does actually fit. It's just we grew up, the original Aunt May portrayal was, she looks like she's 80.
Yes.
But to really, most aunts who are 80 probably have nephews who are 60.
Right.
So, but so let's talk about our other sponsor.
And we're going to talk more on Spider-Man next week after we've seen it.
Yeah,
so
we'll
stay
talk.
tuned for that.
So we got our third, but not least, sponsor is the Chubby Duck Detroit, located in the heart of Detroit there. Yep. And I don't have the actual ad read because I'm disorganized. But what I can tell you,
brains are still elsewhere.
But here's what I'll tell you: They have an excellent chef named Chris Harris, and he has over 8 years of sushi experience at many fine establishments, and he joined on to the Chubby Duck about a month ago now.
Yeah.
And he's been helping them make a bunch of really unique and delicious dishes. That
like their rice bowls.
Yeah, the rice bowls were great, and they brought food in here. I had the cones, the seaweed cones, which was delicious. And I'm not a sushi person, and I really enjoyed the stuff they brought in. I also had the stack.
You had the stack, yeah. I'm a sushi person. I love everything they brought in. Yeah.
So far, I've loved everything I've had too. So, highly recommend them. They're in downtown Detroit there. Look them up on Facebook at Chubby Duck Detroit, or go to our oddmusings.com page and look them up through the sponsors page.
Yep, they're doing lunch and dinner, so they're open
Lunch and
11, usually
dinner.
11 to 7, Monday through Friday, some weekends when different events are going on, so check their website and Facebook.
Yeah, follow them on Facebook, because when they have those special hours, they do post on it.
And I saw online, they posted that if you go on to our other sponsor, Odd Musings, and buy the group shirt that Scott did.
No, other sponsor, T-24.
I'm sorry, yeah, T-24.
Odd Musings is not our sponsor.
I mean, yeah, Odd Musings is, well, we are. But go to Odd Musings, go to a T-24, order the group shirt, wear it to the Chubby Duck, and when you're wearing it there, mention how you got it, and they will give you a free drink with your order.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
that's what I
cool.
saw
That was a
posted online.
cool cross promotion they put together.
Yep.
So
So definitely check them out. Excellent sushi and fresh and made, and stuff. I mean, they made it that morning and bring it to us when we have it in the studio. So we get it about an hour or so later. It's still excellent, and enjoyed everything on that. So definitely check out Chubby Duck Detroit and go to oddmusings.com to find them, or go to Facebook and definitely check them out when you're downtown for a Tigers game or upcoming other sporting events and musicals and concerts.
That's right. So that brings us to the end of the amazing episode 9 of Odd Musings, and next week we're going to be in studio again, where we're going to do our full review of the new Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep, look forward to talking about that, and probably have a couple of fun topics to talk with you guys about.
Yeah, we're also going to preview. We're going to do a San Diego Comic-Con preview.
And the Tampa Bay Comic-Con preview as well,
that'll
but
be
mostly San Diego.
Tampa will be episode 11.
Yeah.
But
And then one thing we got coming up, guys, is while we're going to be traveling a couple weeks, we're going to pre-record our episode 11 for you guys. Episode 12, we're going to be live from Orlando, Florida, hopefully outside Universal Studios, with our Facebook Live.
Unless
but
we're
also calling
arrested
in
in
on Skype.
band or bar or something.
But we'll be live somewhere in Orlando. We're going to try for Universal. We're not doing a big setup, just a little small thing with our phones.
That's in 2 weeks.
And we'll be calling in, and Dominic will be hanging out in the studio by himself. We'll probably wear a dress that day.
Actually, I think
He's
it's
been
no
channeling
pants.
his
It'll be
inner-
no pants Wednesday because no one's in the studio.
See, I figured he's been channeling his inner Barrowman, but hey. You know. But got a lot of cool episodes coming up next few weeks for you guys.
Yeah, stay tuned.
And don't forget our contest. Go to oddmusings.com. Get the answer of who Spider-Man's alter ego is, and you could win a chance to get that massage from Loringer Chiropractic. Until next time, guys, we'll see you soon. See you, Scott.
Peace.
Right.
I shouldn't shut this off. I should keep.